There we go.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So we will open the way. If you would like to unmute and join in, please do so.
Sure.
All right. I am open to the wisdom within me.
I am open to the wisdom within me.
Open to the wisdom within me.
I embrace the path of self-discovery.
I
I
embrace
embrace
self-discovery.
self-discovery.
I am ready to strengthen my bonds with others.
I am
I am
ready
ready
to
to strengthen
To
my
strengthen
bond
my
with
bonds with
others.
others.
Together, we embark on this sacred journey.
together.
Together we
On our
embark
sacred journey.
on this sacred journey.
Okay.
Ashe,
Say,
Ashe, Ashe. I just have to say, I love to hear, and I say this on the King's Call all the time, the exchange of energies to hear others' voices. So when I say it, and I close my eyes to hear the repeat. So I'm taking in and receiving
Feel the energy.
everyone's voices, everyone's energy. So thank you for always unmuting and sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like reciprocal.
It is.
Yeah,
It is. It is.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I feel like this slide, y'all, should be like a curtain reveal. Maybe like that's the next.
Yeah. Right.
I feel like every week it's like, okay. And then behind the curtain. All right. So we're gonna dive in. We're gonna dive in. Okay. So here's the symmetry. Here's the symmetry between our study of Man Heal Thyself and our study of Sacred Women.
So again, last night was amazing, as I keep saying it, and it was the nature man of regeneration was our REIT. And a man of nature was born last night, which again we'll talk about maybe further into the call if it comes up.
The teaser, y'all. Remember that later? The teaser.
So Nature Man of Regeneration focuses on empowering men to heal themselves through holistic health practices, spiritual development, and understanding divine masculine principles. The Nature Man emphasizes physical, mental, and spiritual health through natural remedies, diet, exercise, and meditation tailored to the specific needs and energies of men.
Okay.
Yeah, all of that was in there last night. It was all of it. Yeah. And look, last night, because of the call, made me get up and do my exercise and meditate this morning while I was exercising. So all of that.
Just kickstarted you all.
Yeah,
revitalized.
That's right.
Okay. And so we are opening the way in Sacred Women this week with the gateway of Sacred Lotus Initiation. And so that's also under the guardian of Nefer Atun. And so Sacred Lotus Initiation emphasizes women's spiritual healing and a return to ancient nature, focusing on the divine feminine and encompassing aspects like emotional healing and nurturing the self. So this gateway also incorporates rituals, meditation, and teachings that are very specifically designed for women and aiming to connect us with our inner goddess nature.
Mature.
Yes, yes, yes. So we are looking forward to our book study on this tomorrow. Tomorrow.
I'm sure it will be amazing as always.
Yeah, yeah. It always is. It always is. It's always so reflective for all of us and introspective. So okay, we're gonna get in a little bit deeper.
A little bit deeper.
All right, y'all. So rebirth or reborn. So I have to say that James and I, when we talked about this, I mean, I think we use these words interchangeably forever, right? And so it's not really until now when we really start dissecting the gateway, dissecting the arete, understanding what this means to us, that we're identifying that they're actually very different. So they have their similarities, but they are different and distinct words. So rebirth implies a process of starting anew. And it's often more of a radical or complete transformation, like radical transformation. So in many spiritual or philosophical contexts, rebirth involves beginning of a completely new existence. So it's completely shedding the prior being, right, and forming a new state of being. So this new existence is generally distinct from the previous one, though there may be some continuity of consciousness or essence that's there. But rebirth often really means a total reset. And it's like a new chapter, new person that is very different from the person that came before them.
Right.
So that's a very, very distinct, radical transformation. Reborn is a little bit different. So Reborn, on the other hand, leans more towards the idea of renewal and revival. It suggests a transformative process that revitalize or even renew something that already exists. So it's like the essence of this being is already there, but it needs some refreshing. It needs some re-energizing. So when someone or something is reborn, it's more about a significant change or a significant improvement or an awakening, like what you described, within the same continuum of existence. So the person themselves is not changing. They are awakening and becoming more conscious of a new level of themselves.
Right.
So that's different than shedding the old, right? So the shedding and rebirth is saying, yes, I'm conscious of who I am today, but I realize that I need a full-on rebirth.
Right.
Right. So I'm going to come back renewed, cleansed of all remnants of the prior version as the new version. Whereas reborn is more about washing away the cloudiness that's on the lenses so that you can see more clearly your true self. And it's about awakening to the self that's already existing today that you just may not have been conscious of.
Right.
So it does not necessarily imply starting from scratch all over again. It's more about a profound alteration of what already is.
Right. So I'll go a little bit into last night and try to see how that fits into this. Right. So on the call last night, we had a brother. Brother C, Brother Ross, Brother Colin, different names that we call him, but he is someone who was very honest when he was coming on this journey that he didn't understand this work. He was called here and decided to do it because his father had passed away and he was in a very dark spot. And when I called him about the journey, he felt like he had told, I'm sorry, let me backtrack really quick. Like a year or two ago, I actually brought him in and he had met a couple of the brothers and I was talking to him about the journey back then. And he didn't come on it then, he wasn't connected. He said this time he was connected because one of the last things that his father told him was, because he told his father about it.
I remember it.
Right. He told his father about the journey and the thing that he was gonna do, that his father told him, go over there and get with those brothers. He laughed. He said, go have that cucumber water with them brothers. When he came over, we was having cucumber water. So he said that when his father had passed away, and then when I came and called him about the journey, he said he knew he had to do it because that was one of the things that his father had told him, right? So when he got on the calls, you could tell he was disconnected. He was honest about it. He was like, I'll be honest, man, like this stuff to me seems corny, this stuff to me, I don't connect to it. I don't know how y'all connect to it. The words sound funny. Y'all sound funny. I'm just not connecting to it, whatever. Weeks would go by. He was trying to connect to it. It wouldn't happen. He kind of fell off for a second, for a week or two, came back on. And then last night, and we always talk about there is a gateway or a REIT that really hits your spirit and you ascend through it. Last night, as we were going through, actually, Brother Truth opened us up last night and read the first 2 paragraphs. And then after that, we went into an hour-and-a-half conversation and watching Brother C become Brother Nature. He connected so much to the words. I always say, and I was telling this to Brother AJ today, it's like when somebody's ordained by God to minister and they interpret the Bible in paragraphs in a way that it's through them, not just the words that they're reading. He connected with the words last night that he was not reading the words, he was ministering. He was taking the words and he was giving it out in the way he saw it, how it interpreted to him in his life.
Shout out to Brother C.
Yeah, I wish he was on the call tonight. Yeah. But yeah, it was really amazing to see. So it was his rebirth, because he was shedding the old him, and he had connected to become Brother Nature. So it's not reborn. Reborn for me is, okay, now that you are this person, you don't have to shed him anymore, but you do have to be reborn sometimes as far as renewing yourself.
Yeah.
And that could be, for me, it's like rituals each day. I feel like every day is, they're going to be tests, adversities, things you go through. So each day you kind of renew yourself with your rituals, your meditations, your affirmations, you know, that type of stuff. So that's how I kind of look at this according to what I saw last night with Brother C.
That's beautiful. Oh my goodness. I'm excited for Brother C.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that you all were able to witness that, like real time, live, that sort of an awakening.
The light is, it's amazing, because I know it, Brother Truth probably say it as well. When we started the call, he looked one shade. You know, it was his normal kind of darker. I'm telling you, when you saw his eye open up, his third eye, and he was awoke, there was a light on him.
Wow.
That was so different.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And thank you for sharing that. So just a little bit deeper, even, you know, to what you were saying. Did you want to speak to that, Brother Truth? Brother Truth, did you want to speak to that too? Okay.
Dre said Brother Nature. That's
Brother
right. Dre,
Nature.
yeah, and then Jane said, yeah, Dre, last
Dre
night
said
was
last
great.
night was great.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And Sister Felicia.
It says that's really beautiful for Brother C. It's like he stepped into the light. Exactly.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
I don't know. Yes, you're breaking up, Brother Truth. You're breaking up. I think Nature keeps calling you back out.
On the back.
So,
okay, he's gonna come back.
Yeah. So last night, I'll just say we are all
they're
traveling. Okay. Just really quick. Also, last night, Brother Truth was breaking up, and we were talking about, you know, this is the Nature Man. Almost missed my stop this morning.
You were tired, right?
Jay was tired. Yeah.
James came up late last night. I said, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah. Dre said that, you know, because he wakes up so early, usually he have to get off. It was around 11:15. He's like, he couldn't get off. The call was that good that he was like, I got to stay on for this one. But here's how the Most High works. Brother Truth last night was trying to jump on to lead the call. I mean, lead the first paragraphs, right? And he was breaking up. It wasn't working. And he was in his house trying to get a good spot, and it kept breaking up. And he walked outside. And when he got outside, which again, I don't understand. Wi-Fi is in your house.
Yeah.
Right. But he went outside, and then it became clear, and he was able to speak and be clear. And we was like, oh, we see what's happening, because he was talking about obviously
Nature wanted to be involved in the conversation.
Absolutely.
So Brother Truth and Sister
They can't hear you now. No, I told him we'll be at the home soon.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, we hear you.
Good things. Good things.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Because I had to get out of look, I parked the truck. I stopped the truck. She was like, you can't stop right here. You can't stop right here. I stopped the truck and got out of the truck.
Nature is calling.
And that's what happened last night. It's the same thing. So most definitely, it's wow. This is so profound that you have to be able to accept the truth of what's happening. You have to be able to accept the fact that you all called, not all of us. When I say you all, I'm speaking to the entire everybody on this call. You called on this. You called on this. You called on this. So stop being fretful. You called on this. This is only happening the way that you can understand that it should happen.
That's right.
And the main thing was we, the Brotherhood, instituted a formula last night. Y'all know I'm about the formula. We instituted a formula that unlocked. It hit a point. This is what everyone should do, because we all have the truth. And when you're in the position, stop being scared. Open your mouth and implement what you know. Implement a role play last night. And it was the role play that activated the truth inside of the brother. And I'm gonna let Brother James share how that happened. And I'm at peace so we can drive home.
I see. So Brother Truth, again, you know, the Most High works through everyone. We are vessels. And Brother Truth said to Brother C, before he was Brother Nature, you work with young men, young women, children. What ages are they? And he was like 14 through 18. Brother Truth said, okay, so what I'm gonna do is let's role play. I'm gonna be the teenager. The same way you talk to your students each day, I'm gonna be one of your students. So Brother Truth said, okay, you come and you see me, and I am, he has a gun pointed to himself, ready to take his life. And he said, what are you gonna do? So Brother C started talking to him as he would talk to a student to try to understand what was happening to him, why, and try to dig in and tell him, you know, what's going on, speak to me. So he's talking, he's going back and forth with Brother Truth, and Brother Truth is in character of this young man that is going through something in life that wants to take his own life. And Brother C went right into it. He went into the mode of, I'm gonna pull you out. I'm here to save you. And he went into words of just so many things he was saying about being there, and that he wasn't gonna leave the brother, that he could have turned and ran, you know, to fear for his own life, but he's not. He's standing here with him, right? And Brother Truth is going back, and he's in character of saying, but you're not here. And they're going back and forth. And Brother C said, I believe he said something about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Truth or Brother Dre, if y'all remember exactly what was said, though. He had said something, put it in the chat. He had said something about being, when he's leading with his heart or being in his truth, nobody can stop him or over talk him or something of that type of way, to tell the kid, like, I'm here, and even though you hurt and I'm hurting, but I'm here with you, and pain's not going to overtalk the love that I have for being here and helping you get out of this. It was very, very powerful. Ashe.
Dre said, he said, don't interrupt me when I'm speaking from my heart.
That's what it was. There you go. Thank you, Brother Dre.
Wow.
Don't interrupt me when I am speaking from my heart.
I love that.
Ashe. Ashe.
Wow.
It was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And this is, again, Brother C being in character of understanding what it felt in that moment, and then connecting it to the work we was doing, you know, the Arit, everything. This was the foundation of his rebirth, which really had him start connecting. So salute again to Brother Truth for that role play. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment.
Oh, I mean, I am just so in awe of what God is doing in this space, the God within, the God without, all of it, right? In concert. Because when we think about how the brothers, right, how you all shared with us the entry to Man Heal Thyself, the book, and how Queen was expressing in the language that initially when she was creating the Sacred Woman journey, it was because men weren't showing up.
Right.
Men weren't showing up.
Right.
And so now,
right,
this is showing up.
Right. Ashe.
This is showing up. So give thanks for the journey that you all are on. Give thanks for, you know, how you're holding and supporting each other, and how you're allowing all that divine wisdom to just erupt and come up from outside of you. So give thanks, Brother Truth, for shifting into the mindset even of having the role play, being able to connect with the spirit of the youth, right? I'm sure you drew reference from some part of your own consciousness to do that, and then having it activate your brother. Like, that's amazing. That's what this is about.
And as you said, you know, with Queen, you know, saying that this work is very hard, you know, as far as brothers coming into it, like they've always been trying to reach out to brothers to get them into it. I give a lot of thanks because we have brothers that are showing up. And even for the ones that can't. So really quick, Brother Warren had reached out to me, and he's so in awe of his queen on what y'all are doing on your side. He reached out to me and he expressed
Queen Letitia.
Yes. And he expressed to me what he sees in his queen and the progress. And he is so inspired by that. He said, listen, brother James, I want to recommit myself to this work from the beginning, when you do it again. And I have brothers that I want to bring in with me.
Ashe.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see. I'm like,
is she on?
She's on.
Okay.
She is.
All right.
She is.
All right.
Ashe. Proud of his queen.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was very proud, and it made it. And this is how it works, right? It actually, sometimes when we even see it, she said, "Give thanks."
Yeah.
Give thanks. When you see your queen, and you see, and he said in his words, I will say in his words, the glow that he sees in his queen, and the progression, he has to do the work. But now he's like, listen, I know I have not committed myself to these weeks as I want to, right? And I see what it would be if I do. So he was asking, is this going to happen again? Because I want to recommit from week one.
Ashe, absolutely.
Yeah. And he has some other brothers. This is how it works with brothers again, right? Now you see this, you want to bring some more brothers into it, right? Because you see, in his words again, he says how this would be, and we need this as a brotherhood. We need this as men, as Black men, as young men, as kings. We need this work to get to our higher version of ourselves. So this is why he wants to. So I said, absolutely, we're definitely going to do it again. And now we got brothers building. We have the foundation building. We're building out with the brothers, building strong.
Ashe. Oh my goodness. Like that just. So the Sacred Woman prayer, in part, we also say that we are the women who lighten the darkness. Sis, Queen Letitia, you are out there lighting the darkness, bringing light and your glow into the darkness, so much so that it has illuminated a path for your divine mate, right?
Yes.
And even so much so that he wants to bring others on the path too. That's what we mean by lighting the darkness. That is the perfect example of that. So giving thanks for the work that you're doing and the consistency in how you're showing up. Because, and we've said this before, right? It's not so much about telling, asking, dragging anyone along the process. It's about just showing up, doing the work for yourself, and letting it tell the story. Letting it tell the story. So kudos to you.
Yes.
Kudos to you. Kudos.
Thank you.
Yes. And so sis says, thanks. Dre said, we were just talking about not being able to just hard stop during the sister circle. Right. Shah says that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We were just saying the same. Like we will continue. And Queen Felisa says, breaking chains, building the kingdom. Brick by brick.
That's it.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
I absolutely love that.
That's it.
Give thanks for that. Okay. So for the book study comparison also regarding Rebirth and Reborn, so just thinking about it in terms of the actual text of Man Heal Thyself, and then the actual text of what's in Nefer Atum, Gateway of Nefer Atum, for Sacred Woman. So Rebirth is, in Man Heal Thyself, a transformative process that involves shedding harmful habits, right? So shedding the harmful habits, shedding toxic environments, and even negative mental patterns. The rebirth isn't just a physical detoxification process, but a profound awakening, right? Where individuals reconnect with the healing powers that are inherent in natural living and in the ancient practices that our ancestors intended for us. And then Reborn is about embracing or returning to a lifestyle that aligns with the natural principles that bring us into harmony with the cycles of nature, and which means which are rich in holistic nutrition, being grounded in mindfulness, and even our spiritual well-being. So it's a renewal process that's seen as more of a return to your authentic self or a return to your original state. It's not so much of a shedding, right? And that also being one that our ancestors knew and lived by, right? So this reconnection with ancient wisdom is not just about looking into the past, it's also about using that knowledge to heal and thrive in the present. So that's our comparison. So here's the introduction. So these are the words that are not mentioned in either one of the books, but as we've shared every week, when we open the gateways, James and I go on a journey. And then our journey sends us into unlocking a message within our union and within ourselves. And then we work to, package it into something digestible for our whole community. So here's the 3 words that we're breaking down, and we're actually diving into understanding how they're showing up for us as blockages to those renewals. So whether you're choosing to be reborn or you feel like you need to shed and it's a full rebirthing, there could be blockages to either one of those types of renewals. And so these are the 3 that came up for us. I'm sure that there are others and we open it to the floor to add. The first is called miswanting. So miswanting actually refers to desiring things that do not actually contribute to our happiness or our well-being, right? So it's like wanting, but the opposite of that, right? Like mistakenly wanting something, right? Believing that it's going to contribute to your happiness, but once you've actually received it, you find out that it really does not. And perhaps you already know this now, but you continue to want this thing, this experience, person, whatever it is, and it's a misjudgment. So we often misjudge what will bring us satisfaction, whether it's chasing after material possessions, whether it's certain relationships, whether it's status, whether it's life goals, whatever it is. And this miswanting, it does not end up fulfilling us in the way that we thought it would, or the way that we anticipated. So miswanting leads us away from our natural ways of being by focusing our energies that are external to us, and sometimes can even be superficial, and achievements rather than internal growth or fulfillment. So this can show up, just to give an example, this could show up, let's say, right out of high school. You may have either been or known of or have a child yourself, right? Where maybe there was some creative thought that they had about their future. Let's say, how many times have we heard of a child saying, I would like to do something in the arts, and then maybe there's an adult figure, whether it's a teacher, a guidance counselor, a parent, whoever, that says, that's not realistic, right? That's not realistic. So, I'd like to be a dancer. Well, that's not realistic. I'd like to be a basketball player. Well, you're not 6 feet tall. That may not be realistic. So that doubt gets inserted. And so they're redirected now by the adult party. And now they're thinking, well, what is realistic? Perhaps I should be going to college to study to be a business manager, right? And now they start down this path and realizing that through taking their courses, they're not finding fulfillment. Realizing that in graduating, maybe they didn't feel fulfilled. Realizing that now in actually graduating and doing the thing, right? Doing the career in the workforce, they're not finding fulfillment. And all of that is an example of miswanting. It's now desiring to do something for other reasons, right? In this specific scenario, it's to meet societal expectations or parental expectations or whatever it is, right? To meet external expectations. And then you realize it doesn't feed me. It's not what I'm passionate about, and it doesn't feed my spirit. So that's an example of miswanting. And so in terms of overcoming.
So overcoming is with meditation and self-inquiry. So meditation helps calm the mind, allowing us for a clearer perspective on our true dreams and needs. And this is something that I've been doing lately with meditation and trying to really be still, because it definitely does open your mind to be clear about what you really, really want. I was always one that's been very impulsive in what I'm saying and thinking. meditating is even helping me slow down in my thought process. So something I'm continuing to do. Not I'm just trying to perfect it, but I'm getting there. I can see the difference little by little. So yeah, so it says allowing for a clearer perspective on our true desires and needs. Self-inquiry is a process of deeply questioning our motives and desires. It can reveal the roots of our miswanting and guide us towards a more authentic aspiration.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because like even what you're talking about as far as like, you know, wanting something and not realizing that it's not going to fill the void. You know, that's external stuff sometimes, right? It could be a new car.
It could be a new car.
Right? You get the new car, you're excited, you know, you have this euphoria that's going on, and you think like life is so good now because you have this new thing, and then after a couple of weeks, it's not that new no more.
Yeah.
And that feeling starts creeping back, and you start understanding, wait a minute, what's going on here? What happened? I was just all excited about the car, but it's not new anymore. You don't, because it's really within.
Yeah.
That you have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
chasing the miswanting, right? And then we have comparison, right? So the habit of constantly comparing ourselves to others can create feelings of inadequacy, jealousy, and dissatisfaction. And this is inherent for a lot of people too. Like sometimes, you know, you may have people feeling as if, well, I don't really feel like I compare myself to anyone. But, and I think we talked about this a little bit last week when we made those athlete references, right? So it's like, in order to be the best, it's almost like you need to know the ranking of the second best, the third, the fourth, right? And so even though you may not be inspired to be the best by the ranking of where others are, you still could be making the comparison in order to gauge where you are or how satisfied you feel about where you are. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next slide too, because social media has a piece to do with that. Media in general has a lot to do with that sometimes too. But it's just that idea, even in families, right? Just the idea that, okay, let's say there's been this premise of everyone has done this thing by this age. Let's say everyone in my family has had their first child by 30.
Right.
And now I'm 32.
Right.
And I haven't had my child.
Right.
Right. And now there may be conversations around, you know, why is that the case? Right. And it might be that we're not looking at it in terms of comparison, but the comparison is the reason for the discussion. Or even in terms of other things like on your job, right? I know that oftentimes your performance is it's really relative to how others are performing. So someone will look to say you're either performing at measure or exceeding the measure. You know what I mean? But it requires us to look at what is the measure. You know what I mean? So there's the comparison there. And even when we think about as children, if we remember, you know, going to school, taking those, you know, some of us may have had those like state tests where it tells you the percentage of children that you scored above.
Right.
Like literally it says, you instead of saying you scored 90%,
right,
it says you scored above 90% of other students.
Right.
So even from that very early age, there's this gauging that happens of setting a bar of comparison in a very subconscious way sometimes that we don't have to think about intentionally. And then there are other things, you know, sometimes where people are thinking about it and they're very conscious of the fact that they're comparing. And so in terms of overcoming that.
Yeah, so overcoming with somatic healing and rituals. Somatic healing, which focuses on the connection between mind and body, can help release the physical manifestations of comparison, such as tension and stress. Rituals, especially those that emphasize gratitude and self-acceptance, can redirect our focus from external comparisons to appreciating our own journey and achievements. Which, listen, growing up, again, so I'll go back to sports because I'm always a big sports person and I grew up in this sports world and environment.
Yeah.
It's very competitive and it's all about comparisons. To be the best, you got to beat the best.
Right.
You got to believe that you are the best, right? We talked about this, right? But it makes you always look at that, not just in sports, you start living life in that way. You start looking at everything as a comparison
without realizing.
Yeah, like I always used to joke that I'm competitive in everything, whether it's getting to the door first or whatever it is, but it really consumes your life, and you start comparing every little thing about, am I the best manager? Am I the best this? Like, where
it becomes cellular. Like your
Yes.
body is so used to
It is.
performing in that way
Correct.
that it's like you're on autopilot. You
Yeah.
don't even have to think about it
And
anymore.
you truly will make yourself feel a way if you don't feel you are living up to the comparison that you're looking at. This is what I loved about the journey so much, and learning how to live in gratitude and understanding that my journey is my journey, and nobody else's path I need to look at but my own. Everybody's on their own journey, and I could just sit back and appreciate the next person for their journey. It can be inspiring even, but that is not my journey. I'm grateful for what I have in my journey and what I am led to be done.
I love that. And you saying that just also made me think about, sometimes we're comparing ourselves to ourselves.
Yes.
Sometimes we're comparing ourselves to the younger version of ourselves, the future version of ourselves. You know what I mean? And in those moments, what we're not doing is being grateful for who we are right now in this present moment, just as we are.
Absolutely.
So sometimes the comparison is outside of ourselves, but it's still ourselves.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah,
I just want to be at this place, in life. I just want to be at my next phase. I just want to get over this hurdle. But I love what you stated around the whole self-acceptance and the gratitude by being grateful, like you said, for where you are right now, today. Right. And then accepting that even if this is the stage I had to be stunted at, I could be grateful for where I am today. So that's the comparison.
I love that you said that too, even about comparing to yourself, because it's so true. I mean, it's funny because today when I went to go work out, I haven't worked out with weights in over 6 months. And I want to jump on and do what I always did.
Right.
And my body said, ha, no, you're not.
Think again.
Right. And I started thinking, like, man, like, come on, I just pushed this weight 6 months ago, like nothing, right? But again, to not put in the daily work, you're at a different start than I was. But in no time, that went out of my head, because I turned on my meditation, and I got into just being in the moment of enjoying the workout, enjoying the meditation. And I was grateful just to be able to be in that moment. It wasn't about comparing to my old self anymore, even though that popped up in the beginning. So I love that about yourself, because it's very true.
Yeah. And then Melinda also said, right, I struggle with the comparing myself to myself often. Yeah, I think sometimes we don't think about it in that way, but we all do that. I know after I had each child, right, that was like a big period of time for me where I was comparing myself to myself prior to the baby. Whether it was the first child or the second, you know what I mean? It's like I'm comparing myself to my abilities, capabilities, feelings, all the things, right? Like I'm almost aspiring to get back to a place that doesn't exist anymore. Right. Like that person at that point in life no longer exists. This is who she has bloomed into. So just arriving in that gratitude and self-acceptance.
And can I just say, through my queen, that you've given, birth to our kids, you are more amazing today than you have ever been. So I'm honored and blessed to have you as my queen. So just want to let you know.
Give thanks. Where's Amadi? He's gonna say this is 2 weeks in a row. This is 2 weeks in a row that you got your voice. Thank you. So the third would be comfort, right? So although comfort is not typically seen as a negative thing, right? We do know that if we become too entrenched in a comfort zone, then that can lead to delay to action, stagnation, resistance to grow, and ultimately having strong attachments to your comfort can prevent you from taking necessary risks. Those spirit-led, heart-led risks, right? The faithful risk to make changes that are necessary for your rebirth or renewal. So being in a comfort space is also, or could be, a blockage.
Right. And then overcoming with meditation and, again, self-inquiry. Meditation can provide the mental clarity, again, and calmness needed to face discomfort with courage. The self-inquiry encourages introspection about why we cling to comfort and how stepping outside of that I guess lead or what is going to be, it's going to lead to growth and transformation. So something that's big about this that I'm thinking about, I was just listening to a video. I don't know if you ever saw it. His name is Saguro. It's an older Indian man with a big white beard.
Okay.
Anyway, he was talking about just this. He was saying that so like overcoming even anxieties and stuff like that, and what meditation can do for that, and coming out of your comfort, because what happens sometimes with anxiety, you will only stay in the places that you feel comfort, because when you even start thinking about the uncomfortable,
it's too uncomfortable, and it brings on more anxiety.
Right. Exactly.
That makes sense.
So he was saying, he was like, it's mental, right? And when you understand that it is mental and it is your brain that controls your body and your emotions, he goes, you can go to the doctor, right? And a lot of people go to the doctor and they give you a pill, right? And your pill is going to slow you down, and it's going to slow down part of your brain, and you'll be there slowed down with your slowed brain, right? And you may not feel that anxiousness, but you may not feel a lot of other things either, right?
So what other parts of your life are you sacrificing in order to quiet that with the medication?
Correct. But if you start to understand that this is part of your brain that you need to talk to and calm down, you look at meditation as your medicine. And you really start learning how to, even in the moment of the anxiousness, be able to sit, whether you need to focus on the wind blowing, a tree, something that is comfort for you.
Yeah.
To settle your brain back down, because what happens is when the anxiousness comes, it releases these chemicals down that open up this feeling of, fight or flight. And then you're trying to decide what to do. You need to calm your brain down to tell them that this is imaginary. This is not real. It's not real.
I love that.
Yeah. So I thought it was just, again, with comfort and trying to come out of your that stagnation, because you will get stagnant and just stay in that, that comfort level for life. Is meditation.
To avoid moving closer to the fear.
Correct. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, babe. Yeah.
And I always forget it. I'm going to get his name right, because I keep mentioning him.
Share it, right?
Yes.
Maybe when you come across a video again, you could drop it in our chat. Yeah. So we're gonna open it up here, to the family. So what are your thoughts around any of this? Around miswanting, comparison, comfort? Queen Alicia, everything is so on point. I so love it here. We love it here too. So it's like we do. We love you all.
Yes.
Queen Megan said, I had to learn the difference between giving myself grace and giving into comfort. Understanding there's growth and self-compassion in the discomfort. Yes. Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
And I've had to do that too. Like ask myself, which voice is speaking for me in this moment? Is this my fear speaking?
Yes.
I don't know if I want to take that call. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Yeah. So I shade to that. So any thoughts on miswanting, comparison, or comfort? Feel free to unmute or raise your hand.
Yes, unmute so we can hear your voices, please.
One of the things that that also came up when I was thinking about miswanting, right? Like the things that people think they want more of until they have it. And then the body says, oh no. Oh no.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Can we have an adult conversation?
Yeah. Can
we have an adult conversation, y'all?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk
about it. How about the partners that think at times, right? So talking about the miswanting, that the frequency of love making, they want more often, more frequent, daily, multiple times in the day until the body shows up and said, wait a minute, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like,
you're 50 years old, stop playing. That's not how we do it.
Yeah, I don't know what you were thinking.
Right.
But yeah. So sometimes, you know, the mind can give you one message, right? In terms of the miswanting. And then the body or the spirit show up and say, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
let's really think this through.
Right. Sister Megan.
Sister Megan.
Greetings.
Greetings.
So the miswantings and comparison struck me because I realized that you can have a lot of miswantings because you are comparing and thinking you want to or should be in these spaces, places with these things. And that's not entirely what you really want, or you don't know what work you had to put in order to get the thing you think you want. So that was one thing that struck me. But what really got me, and you know, I'm big on somatics and all the things, is how these miswantings, the comparison, can live in your body. There's something that's called casting. So your body basically can cast itself after an injury or after an emotional experience. So it becomes something that you are, I believe you said, like, it's cellular. It is something ingrained and tuned. It's so much a part of you that it is you. You become that. So it's through the movement, through breathing, through tapping, through meditation, through all of those things that you bit by bit remove the cast. And it's a process that at times when we talk about like rebirthing might be painful. Things might come up that you're not aware of, that you thought you had moved past.
Yeah.
And it's just that cast loosening and coming off. So I love the reference to somatics because it is a real experience that you don't realize certain pains, certain things, certain wants and desires are stuck in your muscle fiber.
That's
And
right.
it requires some movement and some breath to let that go. So yeah, that's all. I am complete.
Ashe. Ashe.
Wow.
From our breathwork practitioner, always love, you know, the additional references there. And it's so true. And as you were speaking, sis, it made me think about another book that I love, which was The Body Keeps the Score, right? Because it talks about exactly that, right? In essence, that casting that you're referring to, right? Of how you may believe that your mind has moved on from experiences or thoughts, and yet it's trapped in the body, right? It's trapped in the body.
Right.
So again, like that autopilot thing that can come up and happen at times. So I give thanks. And let's see what we have in the chat. So Brother Truth said, want, verb, to have a desire to possess or do something. Ashe, ashe. And Melinda said, I was just listening to a podcast about this. I will drop it in the chat. Come on with Queen Melinda is resourceful, y'all. Yes, please do. We would love to check that out.
Yes,
So give thanks for that. And Queen Melinda, did I see your hand up before too? Did you lower your hand?
Yeah, I did lower my hand, but it's like what I wanted to say was like the fear of missing out. So it's like a thing, right? It's like the fear of missing out on something, or as we spoke about earlier, getting back to your old self. Like that's just the season of my life that I'm in right now, with transitioning from being a single person and now motherhood. So that's kind of been like the work that I have been doing with myself for the past couple of months now, well, at least for the past year. So But yeah, so that's kind of like what had came up for me. It's like fear of missing out, and then trying to get back to your old self, and not kind of like not really taking the time to sit with yourself to realize, like, if you really were in those spaces again now, would you really enjoy them the same way you did before?
Right.
You know?
Yes, exactly, right? Miss One.
I can't say that I would, you know?
Right.
It's too loud in here.
It's too loud. The line is too long. It's cold outside.
It's too long. It's too loud in here. The line is too long. All they got is fried food. They ain't got no salads on the menu.
There's nowhere to sit down. Right.
No, right. So yeah, so those are the things that came up for me. And in this podcast, it talks about specifically childhood trauma, but like how you carry, and when you are healing through trauma, you're not just healing the trauma that you personally have, but also the trauma that you inherited from your ancestors as well. So also with keeping score. So it was just a good reminder that, like, this is a journey. Okay, this is a journey, and just give yourself some grace through it. And it's okay if it's okay to rediscover yourself and find other ways to do the things that you also used to love, you know, and getting back to self. So yeah, I'm complete.
Hey, Ashay. Love that. Yeah. Thank you for that, sis. That was just so good. Yeah. That miswanting, right? Because so I love that Queen Melinda made the reference of, like, what if you took today's self, like your current state of being, and put it back into a space you were in at, I don't know, 2021 or whatever that younger age is for you, and experience it again through a visualization. It's like, nope, I don't even like this anymore. No desire to get back into that space. So I love that idea of, like, allowing yourself, right? If you can, through a visualization, but even if you needed to actually go there,
right?
So you could see just how uncomfortable
Like,
you actually are. Like, this is no longer for
me.
me. So that was a gem. So give thanks, Melinda, for sharing that. Thank you. And Brother Truth and Sister Constance, they're home, y'all.
I say, can you all hear me? Well, we saw Ja Gracious hand up, and she hasn't been here in a minute. So we're
well, she's been here. I think she hasn't spoken to us yet, though. I think she may have been on a bit of a fast.
We will yield until after she speaks, just to show our grace for her.
I love that. Welcome into this space, sis. What a warm welcome.
I feel so loved and appreciated
and you know you are.
Oh, and I love you all as well. I was just thinking, because I am usually one of the youngest people in these cohorts, and so I was just thinking about how the older people in my family, I don't call all of the people that are older than me elders, but how they had a completely different relationship dynamic. And so I don't want to have similar relationships dynamics to theirs, because it's a completely different time in space. And so I think that when I do have conversations with the older women in my family, it has been very complicated because I'm 31, I'm single with no children. So they're always comparing what they did when they were my age or younger to what I am choosing to do today. But I have to be very confident about what I know my spirit is telling me I need to do to be an example for the women of the world today, because it was completely different. I'm not saying we're not going through any of the things that we were experiencing back in the day, but it definitely was different. And so just thinking about how the relationships have to evolve, have to be different because of this society that we are living in now, having that dialogue more often so that we will be able to help guide the next generations and remind them that change is inevitable. So the relationships that we admired back in the day, they're going to be different today. And there will be, some relationships that are still those traditional relationships, but there aren't a lot of traditional women or men nowadays. We have evolved, and just wanted to add that we need to have that dialogue about what the relationship, look like 20, 40, 60 years ago, and what we would like to implement from those dynamics, but how we have to implement certain things in order to thrive in this era.
You said a lot, so like, and I so agree. And it was divine to hear your voice today, Joe. We've missed it, even though your presence has been felt for sure, and you're here. But I love how you phrase that, because at the end of the day, that's how you prevent yourself from falling into the miswanting, right? Because but having exactly the clarity that you just described, and so it's a beautiful thing that, generations after us, right, are younger and younger and younger, where they're arriving at this awareness, so that they can stand in their truth, and so that they don't have to become these folks who have to heal these layers, and kind of invest so much in the miswanting, right? That has to be undone. So to Josh's point, like, you are forging the way in your own truth so that you can avoid this. And I think that's beautiful. So give thanks for that share. Yeah. And in the chat, Brother Truth and Sister Constance said, ancestors, what role do they play? Okay. Brother Truth and Sister Constance.
I say.
Greetings. Greetings.
Miswanting, comparison, comfort. Miswanting, desiring things that do not actually contribute to our happiness or well-being. That in and of itself would most definitely exist within a realm where we are completely unconscious.
Right.
Because we're desiring something. We know what it seems like, what it looks like, what we've been taught about it. But the one thing that we actually do not comprehend is that it no longer serves us.
Right. That's it.
When I say it no longer serves us, it no longer serves our divine self. Because there are many things that we engage in that serve us, because that is exactly what we desire. However, we will make a statement. I'm conscious. And then the things that we profess and interject in our own lives actually don't serve that idea that we are conscious.
Yeah.
Most of us have a desire to be conscious, a desire to be aware, a desire to be awake, woke, however we phrase it. Are we really, 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 really ready for the hard conversations? And we say we are. This class is a soft conversation. But when life says, there's no more water, there's no more electricity, there's definitely no more eggs. Where are you gonna get your fish from? Where are you gonna get your herb from? Where are you gonna get your green smoothie from? Then what? Are you going to actually be in a renewal stage or a rebirth stage? Because we keep saying something right now, and I can't let it pass. We keep saying something right now, and I can't let it pass. And we keep saying community. We keep saying village. We keep saying nation, or kingdom, or what have you. Prove it. Can you prove it? If in fact, look, if in fact, I'm looking for a term, somebody bring it to me. It starts with an R. If in fact tomorrow was, it's not redemption.
Revelation?
No. Come on. Somebody got me. Somebody reach off in the ethers and get
reach to me.
Redemption.
No, it starts with an R. I'm telling you, it starts with an R.
Relatability?
No. It's a Christian concept. As right now, the time we're living in is, oh my goodness.
Ratification.
No, that was almost
Revelations.
No.
We giving
See,
you
this-
all the R's.
No, but this-
Revival.
No, that's not it. But this is role play. But that's not it. It says there's going to be, oh my goodness, when everybody that's been right is going to be. There we go, rapture.
Okay, look at that. Of course, it came through your divine maid. All right.
Took a minute, but it came. But the point is, the divine rapture.
Are we ready? Are we going to be ready?
Miswanting comparison and comfort. How is the rapture going to show up in our lives?
Yeah.
Right now, can we tell ourselves a grocery store can feed a community for how many days?
3.
Not you. Okay, as we now know, the grocery store should, in your neighborhood, should be able to feed that neighborhood for 3 days. On day number 1, you're going to go into the store and all the toilet tissue is going to be gone.
COVID.
All the alcohol is going to be gone.
COVID. Okay, I'll stop.
Day number 2, all the paper towels are going to be gone. All the dish detergent is going to be gone. All the laundry detergent is going to be gone. And guess what? There ain't going to be no eggs since day number 1, actually. And then if we go to the food items, on day number 2, what will not be available in your community? And now we've made it to day number 3 of the rapture. Everybody you know that does right, be right, and will give you some tissue and paper towels and a couple of eggs, they gone. They gone. Now what? Now what?
Yeah.
Exploring renewal blockages. We act like this thing is something for play. We keep acting like it's for play. And we're comforting ourselves with the conversations that we're having. Even something as simple as Katrina returning as a different name at a different space. Then what?
Yeah.
The first person that we run to is who? It's not my brother, my sister, it's the government. Now you're in an opportune position for them to actually control you with whatever they give you. I'm going to yield and not go any further. I'm at peace.
It's a really deeply profound thought, right? Because it's true.
Yeah.
Right. We got pretty close to experiencing this. And I don't believe in, coincidence.
No.
Right. So that was the warning. Right. That was the warning. And so that's the word that came up when you just expressed what you did, Brother Truth, because it's true. Like we are seeing. And the other thought that came up, and I'm just going to share it, is that when I think about my grandparents, because my grandparents on both sides, came out of the South, right? And so when I think about them leaving the South to come to New York or the North, it wasn't because they necessarily wanted to leave the freshness of the farms. It was because the opportunities didn't exist there to help them to own the land that their families were working a lot of the time. Many of the laws prior to that didn't allow for people of color to own their land, which meant even after slavery or the enslavement of people, they became indentured servants, so to speak, where it's not necessarily their own. So they had a desire to have more, and to be able to be even more self-sufficient. But I don't know that they intended to live in the concrete jungle, right? And to be completely disconnected from the ability to utilize the skills that they learned early on, right? On how to tend the land. And so I think that we have just to back up and emphasize on the point of King Truth here, right? Is that we have a real advantage almost, right? I won't call it a privilege, but it is an advantage that we have the mindsets that we have today. We have the wherewithal and the skills in order to make business ventures out of going back to the bush.
Right.
So when we return to those lands that our families left to find opportunity, we're returning with a new lens and new way of doing things, but we can still get back to hands in the soil.
Absolutely.
So I share to that. I appreciate you sharing that in the way that you did and really slowing us down to pace to say, let's really think about this.
Right.
What are the renewal blockages? So give thanks.
Yes.
Give thanks.
Queen Felicia.
And yes, Queen Felicia.
Is she still? Hands down now.
Greetings, everyone. I really appreciate that this is a safe space to express all of our views, and I'm not interested in, debating or trying to debunk anything. But I do have to express that sometimes I really have an issue with a wholesale we. One of the mistakes that I made is that I early on, when I think back over my life and some of the things that I've tried to do, I embraced the responsibility. Sorry about the smoke detector. I embraced the responsibility of, enlightening my community and bringing forth the truth and the possibilities and breaking the strongholds and all of that. I embraced that, but a lot of people around me did not. And so I injured myself by, over giving and overdoing things in an effort to try to bring up my community to some of the truths that we've been talking about. And so I've had to step back and rebirth myself. And I don't like being swept up in the weeds. I really don't. I prefer the some of us and many of us because it's not all of us, and I don't think that was what was intended. I'm just expressing, my view on it. I would prefer if we would, leave a little space for those individuals who are making the effort, who are paying attention to, the things that are happening around us. But many of us don't say anything because, you're looking around like, are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? Are you just ignoring this? Are you really paying attention? Am I, overreacting so now I'm in the space now where I'm saying, no, I'm not overreacting. I'm woke. You do whatever you want to do. I'm going to protect my family. I'm going to raise my children. I have raised my children to be good husbands. Whatever decisions they make after my job is done, that's on them. I talked to my son's girlfriend today, and she's expecting our first grandbaby. And I told her, yes. And I told her, I said, I have on purpose raised my sons to be good husbands. My sons know how to cook. They know how to clean. They know how to treat women. That's not to say that they're perfect, but I've done things on purpose and I've been in the minority a lot of the times. And I tell you, I give thanks and praises for being in a community of like-minded people, where I can, not feel like the odd man out. So I just wanted to express that I just prefer not to use the wholesale we, because it's not all of us. And there are some that want to break out, but just maybe don't know how. They have not been exposed to a sacred woman or a man heal thyself, or, the ancient ways and the awareness. And we are our ancestors' dreams,
Sure.
So,
Sure.
so I'm acting on it now, and I'm not that person that I was 3 years ago. And so coming into the light, that resonated with me. Brother Nature, that resonated with me because I don't feel like I'm the same person that I was 3 years ago. And with that, I'm complete.
Ashe. Good things. Good things. And I think that perspective is so balancing, right? Because at the end of the day, there are, and I love the way you put that, says there are those who saw the way earlier on, right? Perhaps before some within their own close knit community, and it resulted in injury, as you phrased it, right? Like, and those experiences need to be validated as well because they are part of the journey as well. So I give thanks for the balance of you bringing that forward, sis. And congratulations on, the coming of the new divine grandbaby.
Yes, I'm gonna be a grandmother, but I'm not gonna look like one.
I know that's right.
I gotta go work out tomorrow, Brother James.
I know that's right. And so there are some congratulations in the chat there. And from Sister Megan, and Truth Constant said, we are here kingdom building together. Give thanks. Ashe. Ashe.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. We're going to go on to the next. So we have a brief exercise that we can go through. And now that we've explored miswanting and comparison and even comfort, we've got 3 scenarios here. So we'll go through each scenario and everyone can just kind of hop into the chat and put which of the 3 you believe this scenario describes. So
I feel like this is going to be the new thing because
when spirit moves for it, but
right. It was really interactive and good just to hear, see everybody jumping in and answering. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So with scenario A, we have Alex. So Alex spends years climbing the corporate ladder, believing that becoming a manager will bring ultimate satisfaction. After achieving this goal, Alex feels empty and unfulfilled, realizing the pursuit was more about societal expectations than personal passion. So which one of the 3 is this? Is this miswanting? Is this comparison? Or is this comfort?
Dre and Shine, they're competing again. Look.
They're first this time. So we've got miswanting. Okay. And then for scenario B, so we have Jamie constantly checks social media, observing friends' vacation photos, job promotions, and personal achievements. Despite having a fulfilling life, Jamie feels a growing sense of inadequacy and dissatisfaction. Yes. As Megan says, comparison. Dre and Shah say comparison. Okay. Tosh says comparison. Yeah. Linda, comparison. Yeah. And it's interesting because with this scenario, everyone's saying comparison. Tori says comparison. Linda. I can even think of scenarios that can lead to even miswanting, when it comes to social media and anything that's visual. You can see what you think you see and not really know exactly what's going on in that and have a desire for it. But in this scenario, I agree. It is comparison. Okay. Melinda said, comparing your life to others highlights. Exactly.
Exactly.
And Brother True says the concepts of comparison and wanting. Right. So scenario C, Taylor has been in the same job for over a decade. It's comfortable and stable, but there's no passion or challenge. Deep down, Taylor dreams of starting a business, but fears the uncertainty and potential discomfort of leaving a secure job. Look, Dre and Shaw on it today. They had their copy and paste queued up. It's like comfort. Megan says comfort. Melinda says comfort. In her own way. Exactly. Exactly. Lisa says comfort. Truth and Constance say comfort. Exactly. And so we can see here, yes, miswanting, comparison, and comfort. You know, and it's in scenarios like this and so many others that I particularly really like the scenario B, because what we're saying here is when we're talking about Jamie, we're saying despite having a fulfilling life.
Right.
So Jamie actually has a fulfilling life.
Right.
Yet starts to feel a sense of inadequacy. Right? Simply because of the comparison.
Right.
So that model of acting in self-acceptance and gratitude, right, would help to call that forward. So thank you all for participating in that. Right, right. Okay, so this is the wordy document. Okay, this is the homework. Okay, I know the homework is not usually this lengthy, but we're going to go through it because I think it's a worthwhile exercise. And so it's a nature observation exercise about discovering your reborn self. So we know that March 19th was actually the spring equinox. It is the day of the year where both the night and the day are of equal length. So it is a sense of complete balance, right? And then also it brings in a surge of energy into this particular space of time of renewal and all the things, right? And so for this exercise, ideally, we want you to set aside at least 30 minutes to an hour to do this, right? You could do it together, you know, with someone else or alone. But your location will be of your choice. So you can either choose any place that resonates with you. So it could be a park, a forest, a beach, a garden, your backyard, your front yard, whatever. And you could bring a notebook or a pen, or you could just use your phone or some other device to record the audio. But here's what we're going to do. So from the mindful part of this, we're going to, once you arrive in your location, you're going to take a few deep breaths and consciously release any preoccupations or distractions. Feel yourself fully present in the moment in this place. Next, the sensory engagement would be to begin to walk. So you're going to walk slowly, you know, just kind of giving your body the permission to take its own pace. So we're not in a rush, right? And you're going to engage all of your senses. So noticing your the sights that are around you, the sounds, the smells, textures that are around you, like literally taking it all in, and then feeling the air on your skin. And listening to the birds, observing the colors or the patterns that you see in nature, like literally being very present in it all. And then you're going to move into your reflection points. So as you're going through this walk and as you're doing your observations, here's where you're either going to write down or record your thoughts. So the first is notice how the plants and animals actually adapt to the environment around you. So as you're walking, just kind of glance and look around and get a sense of how are the plants and the animals adapting? And then ask yourself, how does my true self adapt to changes in life? Right? And what adaptations might lead to a more authentic existence? Like, what are you gleaning from watching and observing nature in those moments that you believe you could bring that natural essence into your own changes in your life? Then there's growth, where you're going to observe the growing patterns in nature, like trees, plants, and even insects. One of the things, and I'll just add here, that I've learned along my growing journey, even as, you know, like harvesting my own, you know, small garden or whatever at home, was that we don't need to have always the pre-prescribed, you plant this item and then it needs to be 3 inches away from the next one, and it needs to be in a perfect square, and it all needs to be, because when we go into nature, nothing looks that way. Nothing is growing perfectly in its aligned spot, and you know what I mean?
Right.
It's all in an ecosystem, and it is divinely working together, right? But it doesn't have to be in equal boxes, and you pull out your ruler and you measure it all, right? So when you're observing the growth patterns in nature, like the trees, the plants, or even the insects, what are you seeing? What's coming forward? And reflect on it. And the question would be, what does natural, unforced growth look like for me? So if I wasn't trying to box myself into a pre-prescribed, well-defined and measured box, what does that organic growth look like for me? And in what ways do I desire, to grow? And Trey and Sean.
So just the growth part, right? When you said to observe the growth patterns and how nothing in nature looks that way, as in, divided out perfectly in its natural space. And it made me automatically think about Sister Kavita and her saying, when we sat together over the weekend in the sister circle, her showing us what balance means or looks like in sign language. And that when we normally think of balance, we normally think of it as everything being fine-tuned, fine-lined, set in stone, set standard. Whereas balance is actually a teetering of the scale. It's finding its balance. It's never stagnant and just waiting in one space. So yeah, growth. And actually, when I blow up my candle too, I don't normally share that. But what I was releasing was my thought of what balance is. And that, I need to have work-life balance because it is in balance.
Yes.
I'm making do, right? And it's working as it should in divine time. So we have found balance.
The truth about balance.
The truth about balance.
I love you for recalling that memory, from that moment. So to expand on it, right? So you all know we had a in-person sister circle for those who were able to make it. And to Sha's point, so Sister Kavita has shared with us that both of her parents were born deaf. So her communication with them has always been through sign language. And to Sha's point, when she showed us what balance meant, she did this gesture. And so, we did make the reference that it's interesting how this is what balance means in sign language, but not this here, this leveling, right? It's not static in that way. And I love that you brought this back forward, Sha, because you're absolutely right. That's the balance that we see in the ecosystems of the way things already are in nature. And when we're thinking about this prompt about what does that natural growth look like for you, you making the reference of what is real work-life balance. I love that you brought that forward, right? Like work-life balance, it can be achieved, especially when you know that this is what balance looks like, right? It doesn't look like this, static and even and always in one place. So give thanks, y'all. Yeah, give thanks for you bringing that forward. So give thanks. And Queen Tasha said, this is good. And Megan says, love that. And Melinda said, we need another one. Yes, we need another one. And Sister Alicia said, yes, Sha. I mean, it was so profound, right? Because she's showing us, and then we're having discussions, and yeah, that's where we arrived. It's like, this is balance.
Right.
This is balance. Whoever told us that balance meant everything needed to be completely linear all the time.
Right.
So I love you bringing that up. Love you pointing it to growth. Ashe, Sha. That was divine. That was divine. And James said King Circle is loading.
It's coming. It's coming.
King Circle is loading. And Brother True, this is the kind to say, compare the heart rate as alive or dead. Ashe. Alive or dead. As Alicia says, Sis Kavita had us having all kinds of aha moments. She sure did. She said, and that's what the circles are about, right? Like there's so much divine wisdom that gets unlocked when we open the portal and then we get in circle and we're like, we're here to receive, right? Because that's when our spirits are like, all right, so let's share. Because y'all are listening. These women here are listening. These men here are listening. This community is listening.
Right.
So when we turn on the receptors, we get the reception, you know?
Did you?
Bringing people together.
And then,
what do you mean? Like,
ascension type of
well, we did dust on it a little bit, sisters. Right? We talked a bit about, that we would want to consider pulling together and a way for us to ascend in person as a group, you know, together, welcoming our families in or whoever else to witness. And we're definitely going to be talking more about how to feel through that and also how to feel through when it should happen.
Yeah, just knowing that it's getting to that 12 week.
Exactly. We're getting there, but we're not leaving you, right?
Right.
So we talked about that too. So there are more books for us to study. We all know that there are some that keep coming up for us. So there's more books to study, and then we're not leaving our sacred text in terms of man, heal thyself, and sacred woman. That becomes repetitive as well, right? Instead of doing it, going through the gateways every week or the Arete every week, we would be spending a month in it. So now those 12 gateways, 12 Aretes get broken out to the 12 months of the year, and we stay in circle. We're a family. We are a family through and through. So then you have the interconnectedness. So in order to recognize the interconnectedness of the natural world, the next prompt would be, how do I connect with others and or the world around me? So how do I connect with others and the world around me? And what relationships nourish my true self? Right? Nourishing the true self. Because realizing that there are sometimes spaces we go into that feel immediately exhausting just by the thought of it, because you know you're not going to be able to show up in your true self, and your true self is already exhausted for you. They're like, oh, we're gonna be tired next week when that event comes up. You know what I mean? Like that sort of a thing. It's funny because I never, when I was a child and my mother would say, I would say, can we go and do this thing 2 weeks from now? And she'd be like, I got to see how I feel, you know. I could never really connect with that. And you have to wait until then to know how you feel about going. You can't just say now. I totally get it now. I definitely get it now, right? Feeling how the energy within and without feels about that notion when it occurs. Then there's integration and insight. And integration is something that I really feel like if we could just even really absorb that word for a moment, because integration it's beyond knowing. So like we get into this space where we're all sharing, and then there are now things that we know. But integration is how you actually pull it into your lifestyle and actually begin to work it into your routine practices, like the things that you're doing. And that's a different space than just knowing because you've learned, right? It's about sitting in and being. But anyhow, so find a comfortable spot to sit and reflect, review your notes that you've written from the prior prompts, and then try to draw parallels between your observations in nature and the desires of your reborn self. So what does your reborn self now desire, and how is that parallel to nature? Because if you start to do that and you still see that there's like some distance, go deeper, because we are really trying to lock in and get closest to our nature-based self. You know, so if you find that it's difficult to make a parallel between your observation in nature and then also your reborn self, just dig a little bit deeper, dig deeper. So then the prompt would be, how does nature's way of being reflect what you truly seek in life? So very similar to what Shah said, that balance, right? And I should have mentioned also, and I can mention it now, Shah, when I blew my candle out in a circle, I did the exact same thing. So when we blew our candle out, The intention was to release, you know, anything, whatever the thought is, whatever the circumstances, whatever that experience is that you want to release. And I released my old way of thinking about balance as well. So we were in alignment there. And so after doing that, right, so that now you're going to conclude with a meditation. So you're going to close your eyes, give yourself your own brief meditation, visualize yourself living in an alignment with those natural principles that you called out for yourself now. So you did the work of asking yourselves these questions. Now you're aligning it with nature to make sure there's a parallel, or as comfortable as spirit tells you you need to be to a parallel. And then now visualize it, like tell yourself about it, close your eyes and get centered so that you can really see it. And then embrace the feeling of being reborn and let it resonate within your true self. So that's your concluding meditation. Post-exercise reflection would be in the following days, revisit your notes and insights, and then contemplate how you can incorporate those natural principles into your daily life. You know, and Spirit just said we need to bring this slide to next Tuesday so that we can talk about how we did that. So that it's not a pop quiz. Everybody knows that. Spirit is saying we're gonna bring this slide back to next week so that we can talk about how we did with this. Time to get out in nature.
Right. And if in spirit, if you out there and you want to take pictures, please drop it in the chat.
Yes,
we want to see
inspire.
you. Yeah, we want to see it. Inspire each other.
I love that.
Videos. If you want to say a video and you want to say something from here of what's going through in that moment, please put it in the chat. Let's inspire each other.
That's a great idea.
That's a beautiful week of just reflecting on everything coming in. So yeah, please.
And with spring right here now, I love it.
I already looked at the weather, babe. I'm just letting you know Friday we going out because the weather.
We going out.
Nice. We're going in the forest. We out there.
Fair enough. So in the chat, Megan said embodiment. That's the word. So yes, the embodiment. Bringing it in and visualize it and embody it. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Melinda said, looking forward to do it tomorrow
That's it.
during my lunch break.
That's it.
Working it into the work day. I love that.
Ashe.
I love that. Ashe. So for this truth, this is the constant say yes. Yeah. And Tasha said, me too, Melinda. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. You're gonna be like, where you go? You want to come with me to Trader Joe's? No. I have plans.
Yeah. Me and Nature got plans.
Yes, we have plans.
I was excited when I saw it, and I was like, wow, I can't wait for this.
Right. This will be interesting. Yes, okay. So that's the homework, y'all. So any thoughts on any of this before we start to wrap up? What's coming through for everyone? How are we feeling?
Thankful.
Yeah.
Thankful. I love it. Every week I'm thankful. Every week just the village, you know, the village. And I love our village.
Yeah. The awarenesses that come through.
I tell you, I love where I'm at. I love where we are. I love the moment of now. But I always sit and reflect and say, man, what would it have been like to be little James with the village? You know, I'm still little James inside, so he still gets the village, but what would it have been like to actually have the village? Now, I mean, I had a village because I grew up in projects, right? So I had 300 people in the project. There was a village, but it's not the kind of this nature where we are, you know, build into our highest level and culture. Just but I'm thankful. I always sit in gratitude and thank the Most High for making this.
For sure. This, and I know, you know, to your point, right, there have been times, especially I feel like this question comes up often where people say, what would you say to your younger version of yourself? And my response is always thank you. You know, thank you for the decisions that you made, whether it was survival mode or otherwise, because all of those experiences have brought us here. You know what I mean? So I love that. Thank you for mentioning that to have us recall and think about what do we want to say to our younger self? You know?
Yeah. I say.
So we've got King Truth and Queen Constance.
So shut up.
Greetings. I just wanted to clarify because when we're talking about the balance thing, and what I was saying about the heart rate thing is on the heart monitor, when it's going up and down, you're alive. And when it's a straight line, you're dead.
Got it. Oh my goodness. So first of all, I'm so grateful that you took the moment to bring us back there and really speak to that, because wow, that really helps to envision it.
Yes.
Like you said.
Yes. Now,
back and forth. Alive. That's the alive straight line.
Yeah. And that's real. That really came from, you know, we were sitting here talking about it. It's like, wow. I'm like, okay. I just had to say.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you.
I give thanks for that reference, really and truly, because that's what balance is, right?
Yeah.
And to think about it in terms of our heart, also being in balance is doing the exact same thing. The ebbs and the flows. I love that. I love that. Sha, did you have your hand up?
I did briefly, just because you asked what came up for us. And I was just like, the first thing on a light note, the first thing that came up for me was I'm going to have to pick my space carefully, because when I go out into nature, these animals just be walking up on me, and I'm, listen, okay? Deers.
That's it.
I'm like, I'm going to need y'all to chill, because I'm not that comfortable yet. Hold on. That's the first thing. Secondly, the second thing that came to me was, you know, initially I didn't want to do it by myself. That was the first thing, like, oh, me and Drake can go. And then I'm like, he leaves tomorrow, right? And he's going down to South Carolina, and he won't be here. So this is something that I'm going to have to do by myself.
So
that was the second thought. And it was like, I think I'm okay with that though. Right? So maybe I just need to reflect. And he gets to reflect down in the South. And maybe there's something he needs to, you know, sit with there. But so that was the second thought. And then I started thinking about the animals again. So yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this. Me and the kids have been going to the park every day since Saturday. So getting outside just because it's been warm, I take my hula hoop and they get to run and play, and I get to just do my own thing as well. So we've been connecting with nature. You know, the funny part is the ARET that y'all are going through, Man of Nature or whatever it's called, I'm sorry. But Lonnie would not leave this call today. He kept I kept getting up to try to lay him down, and he kept coming back over to where we are. And we call him Nature Boy because that boy, he's always in the dirt, in the soil. He's just that kid. He is an outdoorsy kid. When they asked me, because again, he had to be evaluated because of whatever. I spoke about this before. But when they asked me, like, what toys does he play with? I'm like, he's not a toy kid. He's an outside kid. He likes to play with anything outdoors. He wants to play in the dirt. He wants to run up and down. He's an outdoorsy kid.
Yeah.
So we call him Nature Boy.
In Auntie
He needs to stay in all the plants everywhere. So he would not leave this space. I kept putting him down, coming back. He just kept coming. So that's my kid. And his name, when I looked up his name, Alani, in Hawaiian, it means orange tree.
Oh my goodness.
And in Yoruba, it means the one we survive to have.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. Ashe.
Right. So I can't wait to do this activity. I'm gonna go get grounded somewhere, and I may have to take my Nature Boy with me, but at least I'll have that company.
Yes, Ashe. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing.
And when you mentioned about the animals getting close, so Shy and I went to the park, what was it, a week ago? And we just sat on the bench and we were like chatting and reading and chatting and reading. And this group of geese, it was like they just started like more and more and more, just started to flock right to where we were. And to the extent where they were like standing like right near our feet and then just got kind of like in a squat position and went to sleep so comfortably. And we were kind of like, what is going
Well,
on?
look, like Brother Truth said in the chat, if
Mhm.
any animal comes to you, they're letting you know how much in harmony you are
with Mother
with Mother
Nature.
Nature.
Ashe.
Okay. I
Ashe.
mean, these are our spiritual brothers and
Mhm.
sisters too. You know, out there, the animals, insects, this is all part of
That they are.
nature, you
That
know?
they are. We recently also put out a bird feeder, and I absolutely love the fact that now we can watch the birds kind of come over and actually feed. And it's so interesting to see how they kind of go to the bush that's like a little bit off the distance and look around and make sure like
Yeah,
this is
nobody's trying to
okay,
trap it.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
like is this free food and we're good to have it? And then they flock to it, and that's been really beautiful
It's
too.
funny because my whole life I've always been a person that I don't like to kill like insects and stuff, you know. Like in my office, there'll be a beetle, something, whatever. Everybody, I mean, don't kill that. I'll get a cup and I'll bring it back outside to nature because it doesn't want to be in here no more than you want it to be in.
Right.
Don't kill it.
Right.
Yeah.
So give thanks. And the truth is, Sister Constance said, they are all waiting on us for the renewal of this planet.
Ashe.
I receive that.
Yes.
I receive that
Yes.
call to action for
That's
sure.
it. That's it.
All right. Unless there are any other final reflections before we wrap up, we can go into our call and repeat affirmation. All right. Give thanks, family. Give thanks.
Always feels so good. I bring it in and just.
It's beautiful. All right, here we are.
All right. Again, as always, if you want to unmute so that I can receive your voices and your energy, please do. All right, family. I am grateful for the insights gained.
I am grateful
I
for
am
the
grateful
insights gained.
For insights gained.
I carry the strength of our community with me.
I
I
carry the
carry the
strength of our
strength
community
Of our
with
community
me.
with me.
I continue my journey with love and purpose.
I
I
continue
continue my journey with
Journey
love
with
and
love
purpose.
and purpose.
Until we meet again in gratitude and growth.
until we meet
Until
again
we
in
meet again with
gratitude.
gratitude and growth.
In gratitude and growth.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Blessings, family. Blessings. We love y'all. We'll see y'all soon.
Yes.
Love y'all. We'll see you soon.
Love you
Bye
all.
bye. Be well.
Wow.
Give thanks.
Leave them.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
We thank you so much.
Thank y'all as always.
Thanks.